Hiyo, yeah. Hello, Biotech. Hello, Shade. Yeah, I did say that I was gonna probably maybe play 40k, but I'm gonna play this, and if I get like a lot of the maps done, because I'm still gonna work on the new DLC, the Adventure Time DLC, but if I get through it quickly, I might do a couple of games of 40k, I'm not sure. It depends on how long this takes me. Like, if it's just one more map, for example, which I don't know if it is. It might be 2 more, maybe. Then yeah, I'll play some 40k, but if I end up doing something, and it, you know, it doesn't take me very, I don't even know what I'm trying to say, because I can't brain today, I'm sorry. I'm still a lot sicker than I realized that I was. Like, every day I start coming good towards the end of the day, and, well, not even. Like, yesterday I was okay besides, like, dry coughs, for example. Like, you guys know, I was sick even from my last stream last week. And hey, little guy. Yeah, so yesterday I was just dry coughing. And so I thought, you know, if it's a dry cough, I'm probably gonna be good for tomorrow. And then this morning I started coughing up shit out of my lungs again, so yeah, I've been bamboozled by my own illness. I should streaming stop and recover? Probably, yeah. I did take yesterday off Biotech, as you probably know, and yeah, no, I thought I would be good for today, but I wasn't, unfortunately. I'm okay. It just, yeah, I don't know. It's like, I'm definitely on the mend. I still can't talk properly for one. I'm still kind of short. I don't want to say short of breath, because that's not wholly true. Like, kind of like short of voice. Like, I can't really talk heavily for a long time. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense. I am looking after myself otherwise, though. Like, I'm definitely taking medicines and stuff, and the icky cough syrup, because cough syrup in all of my life has never tasted good, which is kind of ironic. You would have thought if they would have made anything taste good by now, it would be cough syrup. A shiny Axo? What color is a shiny Axo? I'm curious. Fatal? We all have name changes again. Catch it quick. Yeet. Yeet the Pokeball. You're sick of the phallic comments? I'm surprised I never thought of that, actually. I'm disappointed in myself. That's crazy. very fair, but yeah, I'm surprised I didn't think of that. That's crazy. Unless there's a lot of parts of this helicopter. I don't know why I'm only at 18%. That's crazy. This is the sort of map I'd be using soap on, but unfortunately the achievements demand that I don't use soap. One of the voids is sleeping on my lap. 3 of the fluffy voids are sleeping on my lap. Oh no, they're multiplying. Went for this achievement too, and your heart sank every time you accidentally swapped off. Yeah, when I spawned in, I accidentally like clicked and sprayed, but I was looking at the cart and I'm like, oh no, did I accidentally spray that? It's an easy enough achievement. I mean, I don't mind doing achievements if they're just like this, where it's like, clean this using this. Okay, sure. No worries. It's when they want you to do stupid achievements that I don't typically do them. The Ice King level achievement. I did the planetarium one. I wasn't going to redo it if I failed it, though. I can assure you of that. If I had failed it, I wouldn't have redone it. I actually didn't check the achievements until today when I logged in, Axo, and I realized that I missed the bag one. Hey, you've got to clean the bag with the door shut. Now, whether or not I'll go back and do that, I don't know. Maybe. But... oh, that sucks. The planetarium's a big job. That's the only reason I wouldn't have redone it. I don't mind using the adaptable nozzle either, though. Honestly, the adaptable nozzle is amazing. I truly think, besides the soap, the adaptable nozzle is the best thing they've added to this game. That's my opinion, because I know a lot of people just love and stick to like the triple spray nozzle. But... the fact that you can just have one nozzle and, you know, shoot a thin spray or, you know, a thick spray without having to consistently swap nozzles, that is like 10 out of 10 to me. Convenience will top novelty any day of the week. You guys will also have to deal with me coughing constantly, because I cannot get rid of this cough. And they give her the head pats. I don't think most of the maps in this are designed to be done with one person anyway, honestly. Which is fine, like, I don't mind that. Because if you do play it as a single person, it does extend the game time. Like, it doesn't make it more complicated just because you don't have more people. It just means that it takes longer, so I don't know. All in all, I would say that this has been a successful sequel, honestly. I actually really like PowerWash Sim. You know, they made it more multiplayer friendly by making the maps very huge. Which does definitely not take away from the game being a good single player experience either, because, like I said, it just means that, well, a job takes longer. You know, I was probably nearly gonna play Turtle WoW this week, too. I was gonna probably try and finish leveling my character up to 60. Because I'd been putting it off for a little while. I kind of just wanted to play that sort of OG classic WoW to get, you know, that old feeling again. And then I got my fill and I sort of put it down for a little while, but the itch was not really coming back. I just had the feeling to play it again, you know? Because Turtle WoW actually is really good, but, you know, they, thanks Blizzard, you ruined something else you touched. I'm pretty sure that Blizzard will end up going down in history as, I reckon, honestly, the worst game developer in all time. That's my honest opinion. And I mean, yeah, there's probably smaller game devs that have done dodgier things, and, you know, as far as, like, a single instance thing goes, there's probably definitely worse game developers, but the problem is that Blizzard's done it consistently. And so it makes it really hard to not label Blizzard as the worst. EA, and I suppose you could argue Activision, even though Blizzard is Activision. You could certainly argue that those developers are, you know, bad. EA is, you know, monetarily sugar-free island. Definitely not sugar-free. You could probably definitely argue that Blizzard, EA and Activision have their own sort of predatory things. Like, EA is certainly monetarily predatory and all the rest of it, but Blizzard is just straight up anti-fun. I mean, Blizzard's pretty bad for monetary practices as well. I mean, I was talking to Shade the other day where we were looking at a skin pack for Overwatch 2, which had 6 skins in it, which was $160, I think it was. Correct me if I'm wrong, Shade. $160 for 6 skins. Someone else can do the math on that. For each skin, I'm not going to do it. Hey, Azaki. So yes, while it can be argued that EA does use predatory monetary practices, Blizzard is just straight up about it. Blizzard's just straight up, look, we're greedy here. Buy our stuff, lol. Thank you for the hydrator, Zaki. How am I? I'm still sick. I need a head. No, I believe, it is my firm belief that Blizzard will go down in history as the worst game developer there is. I said emotionally drained. I'm not emotionally drained, like I am very much alive. It's just, it's very hard for me to be any sort of energetic when half of my, like, my whole, from, say, my chest to my jaw is just gunky and inflamed and gross and everything else. A whole bunch of other synonyms. I also haven't been sleeping well because of it, so understandably, you know, my head is probably not in the most clear state, but no, I'm good. I am good. I'm just not well. Does that make sense? Go to bed then. I can't sleep like that. I'm one of those people that when I'm awake, I'm awake. So before I might even change my backstory. I know there's this, like, it's not even a true backstory, it's just like a joke backstory that we just kind of came up with on the fly as we were joking how I got isekai'd by a truck or something. I might even change that backstory. But in a job I used to do, I worked shift work. I did shift work for a long time. And I can assure you that after you've done shift work for a long time, your body just gives up on what is considered a normal sleep cycle. And it just admits that, well, I'm awake, it's work time. Like, no matter how awake or asleep you are, your body just goes, nah, you're up, I guess we're doing this. It's not fun. I did at the very least, normalize my sleep cycle, sort of. Like, I do actually sleep at normal hours now, but for probably 6 years after I finished that the shift work job, I struggled to sleep on a normal sleep cycle. Like, I just couldn't. Who gunked up the vehicle? I don't know. I wasn't actually reading the story. I don't know if it actually said. Me. It was me. I coughed on it. I think Shade's a little busy today, Biotech. I think Shade's got a couple of other things going on today. You believe it was Shim? It might have been Shim. Shim would be the sort of person to throw dirt on a vehicle and make me clean it. Oh, I did miss something on the cart. What did I miss? Hey, there we go. Achievements. Shim or probably Oni Azaki. This is Adventure Time levels, yeah. God, it doesn't even take me up high enough to get all the way up. Oh my god, this is a huge job. What the hell? As I was just complaining about how big some of the jobs are. God, I have to clean the mushrooms too. God, this is gonna be hellish. Well, the back's clean at least. Smiley face. How much of this can I actually clean? Oop. Not a lot. Oh, Okay, cool. Should be going to bed. Don't overdo your brain trying to figure things out, Tibs. That's me playing Enfield, Azaki. It took me a whole week to figure out one thing in Enfield. It's been bad. Thanks for the head pads. I have noticed that on this stage, or these Adventure Time stages, they seem to give me like a bad washer. Like the washer doesn't really seem to do a very good job. So instead of using the adaptable nozzle, I found it probably just easier to use any other nozzle. So maybe this one. No abuse today, not until you get... It's all good. I've got Enfield figured out. It took me a week, but it's sorted out now until the next patch when they ruin everything again. And then after they ruin everything again, I'll probably spend another week trying to fix it. I really don't understand the Enfield community. The Enfield community does my head in, man. You see people in the Enfield community that sit there and they're like, you read through the patch notes or the update videos and stuff like that, and everyone's like, yeah, new factory items. I'm like, dude, are you fucking for real? Play Satisfactory, play Factorio, play an actual factory game, you weirdo. I don't have anything against there being like a factory sort of thing in Enfield. It's just, I don't believe it should be 50% of the game. Oh, my wrist is not designed to go in the action that I'm using it in. So yes, it's very strange to me. Zai's been screaming about it for the last few days, because Zai only just played through the new patch. I don't know if she's finished it yet, because she hadn't finished it when I spoke to her last. But I know she wasn't amused. Which is nothing new. I mean, Zai hasn't been amused with Enfield for a while now, so... But that's okay, because thankfully with Zai going crazy about Enfield, it makes me feel less like I'm the crazy one. I think Zai finished the major bulk of the story. I don't think she has anything important left to do. I do not, because my issue with it is that they are changing Arknights to fit the Enfield narrative. And I don't like that. And that's a big problem, because, you know, if it had stayed in its own lane, then maybe I could sort of look at it in the way you've suggested, Shade, but it's not staying in its own lane. I mean, this could be considered spoilers, so I mean, if you're not interested, don't listen for a hot minute. Or if you don't want spoilers, don't listen for a hot minute, but then again, at the same time, when I say spoilers, I very much mean that it's spoilers if you care about Enfield's story over Arknight's story. This is unconfirmed, so this is speculative. But Zai seems to think that they're just going to invent a 13th Sue sibling. Despite the fact that the whole Arknight story has constantly stated there's only 12. But Zai seems to think that the Sue sibling that is on Talos is a 13th. So we're just making gods up now. We're just inventing gods. So yeah, it's a thing. That's her speculation. That's Zai's speculation. I don't know if I said that was Zai's theory. My theory is that it's Dusk. Which also doesn't make sense for Dusk to be on Talos, but I mean, here we are. Smiley face. I didn't actually think I would be able to reach this far. So yeah, it's definitely one of those things. It's not a good thing either. It's not a good thing that they can just turn around and create gods. Well, no, they actually stated that it was a Sue Faramut. So it has to be one of the Sue siblings. And, you know, we keep getting these references to ink things, of which strongly implies dusk, but then we've got to ask the question is, why would dusk ever be on Talos? What else was there? There was another timeline discrepancy. Stated that the gate was open from Enfield's point of time. The gate was open 100 years ago. Whereas we're originally supposed to be told that Enfield takes place 250 to 300 years after Arknights. So either Arknights has another... another 150 years of fucking lore to go through, or... someone fucking missed the memo. I just can't see the deities being interested in reproduction. Like, that just is not something that a deity speaks to me as. Like, I don't ever like the idea of any of the Sue siblings reproducing. Like, it just doesn't fit their character narratives. Greek pantheon of gods, anyone? Look, they're not Greek, alright? Be thankful for that, because otherwise Arknights would be a hentai gang. Like, I know this is just one of many. Like, I realize that this is one of 11, right? Because we know one of them is dead. We know one of the Sue siblings is dead. But let's just take Nian, for example. Nian has no interest in anything that doesn't interest her. Like, she's just... She only cares about, like, things that are interesting to her. If it's not interesting to her, she doesn't want to do anything. She showed up and hung around at Rhodes Island because it was interesting. And that's it. That's the reason. Like, as soon as it becomes boring, she'll probably just move on. Like, does that... I get that that's not Dusk or any of the other Sue siblings, but, like, does that sound like the sort of person who would reproduce to you? A person who wants to live in the moment, wants to settle down and have kids? Nah, man. So, you know, this... I don't want to admit that Zai's right, because it flies in the face of everything that Arknights has made its lore around. So, like, I want to be in cynical denial of what Zai has said to me. But a part of me knows that Zai doesn't just say things to say things. Like, Zai usually has a basis for what she says. And that scares me. Because if they start rewriting Arknight's history just to fit the bill of Enfield, which they already have started doing. Like, that means that Arknight's whole story may as well be thrown in the bin. Because they can and will, it shows that they can and will just retcon it for the sake of Enfield. And given Arknight's story is something that draws myself and a lot of other people to the game, the story, the heavy lore, like, those are all things that really draw me into the Arknights universe. I'm sitting over here with, you know, that chunky big Arknight's lore book that costs a fucking arm and a leg. That's how much I love it, because it was fucking expensive. It's a good book, don't get me wrong, but it was fucking expensive. But what point then is this lore book if all the lore in it means nothing because they'll just change it because Enfield, you know? well, you know, this particular facet of Arknight's lore doesn't fit with the Enfield model, so we're just going to rewrite it. Or we'll just retcon it, you know? But that's not okay, man. I think the most, and this isn't a retcon because it was never originally established, but the fact that Durin are a fucking TCAS offshoot kills me inside. And this whole bit of lore, believe it or not, I don't know if you guys are aware of this. Some of you probably will be if you're heavy into every tiny little facet of Arknight's lore, but this one fucking little facet of lore, tidbit of lore, comes from an item in IS. That's where the whole Durin-Asarkaz lore comes from, or TCAS lore comes from. One item's description in integrated strategies. And that's what I mean. All they have to do is just keep doing little things like that. And imagine the damage they can do to the lore as a whole, you know? Well, I mean, that's kind of the part that bothers me, Biotech, is that we did have a consistent storyline. Like, Arknights has been really, really, really well written up until Enfield was announced, and then it all fell apart. Because apparently, Arknights had to be made to fit Enfield and not the other way around. Which is not exactly how you're supposed to do sequels, but hey ho, here we go. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in Arknights that's just never been addressed. Like, take the Durin situation, for example. Yeah, like putting pants on, then underwear. Exactly. That's the best analogy for it, yeah. take the Durin situation, for example. The Durin's lore had never been touched. We knew they existed, obviously, but we never knew what they were as far as the species went. Like, we didn't know if they were their own species, if they were a subspecies of someone, all that sort of stuff. But then, instead of actually giving it a full, any sort of story, and we have had stories where Durin have been the forefront of the story, like, instead of actually expanding on it, we've just gone, nah, here's an item in IS. The description of this item hints, or not even hints, like, it actually deliberately states this is how Durin started. So-and-so, I can't remember what the item says. So-and-so will lead his people underground, and his, you know, ancestors will be so, like, it's not even like a direct link, but it's direct and like it's enough to sort of connect dots. Does that make sense? Like, it's enough to say this is what this is. And Arknights is a growing world, and we only really ever get to see, like, Rhodes Island perspective on that, and I appreciate that. So I appreciate there will probably always be things in the Arknights universe which are vague, but I don't like it when things are just completely overhauled for the sake of Enfield. Like, take the Stargates, for example. The Stargates didn't exist until Lone Trail or IS3, I don't remember which came first. And then all of a sudden, we have 2 continent-sized land masses that just appeared with Stargates on them. Where older maps actually show, like, ocean borders. So those land masses have literally just appeared. And I think that's the most ridiculous thing ever. Because there's not even ocean where those land masses are. Those land masses are just land masses, you know? Now, if they had have, you know, been ambiguous about it, I would have been like, okay, so it's just an unexplored area, sure, no worries. But they weren't ambiguous about it. They're just like, no, here is the world map, here is the ocean borders of that world map, so this is the world we know. And then bam, 2 new land masses that are attached to the main land mass, like there's no ocean in between. What, sorry, where'd this come from? And so all of a sudden we now have these two land masses which have gates on them, stargates on them, that nobody fucking knew about before time. Apparently there was once ocean there, so now there is no ocean, you know, where these land masses were. So that, for example, is just one example of how Arknights is being forced to adapt to Enfield, you know? And I don't like that. I think that's ridiculous. Because even if, right? If you had half a fucking brain in this, you would have straight up said these are new continents. These gates are on different continents, you know? They're not attached to the mainland. They're actually apart from the mainland. Because you got to remember that the Arknights world that we know is kind of like a Pangea sort of situation. It's just one big landmass. That we know. Now, if you really wanted to do that and have it work in a sort of sensible fashion, I still would have been asking questions. Because then the question would have been, well, hang on, we've had people on this fucking planet for how many years now and nobody's left the fucking landmass? Really? With technology the way it is, you know, we've got the A-gear in the ocean and everything, but nobody has found this other continent. Like, I'd still be asking questions. But it would be easier to answer questions than, why two landmasses just show up? Why has Atlantis just fucking popped up? It's very strange to me. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is, like, there's better ways to go about ad-libbing the world than just being like, yes, we're adding new fucking sections of the Pangea Island. It's very literally like, if you have Pangea, you've got Pangea, and then all of a sudden, two fucking landmasses, one the size of Russia and one the size of North America, just sort of appeared overnight. And nobody sort of sits there and goes, yes, this is not weird at all. And yeah, a lot of people would probably sit there and argue, well, that's just it. Lone Trail is on a space station. Ryan Labs has a space station. So we're telling, you know, we have someone at least in orbit and nobody can see. Don't question the mighty cube. All I'm saying is, you know, a lot of people can just piss it off as like, oh, well, you know, they're expanding the story, so they have to expand the world. Okay, you couldn't have added a new continent altogether that didn't contradict the old maps that you've got, the existing maps. That's all I'm saying. Like, man, be consistent. Don't just fuck around. I also think the amnesia card was a poor play. The amnesia card was pretty shitty. Like, yes. In Arknights, we wake up with no memory of ourselves or what we've done or anything else like that, and slowly the story pieces back how much of a cock we were. In Enfield, we wake up with no memory because, I mean, why not reuse what's already working? Question mark. It worked so well the first time. I'm pretty convinced that Enfield was... Enfield was not designed with Arknights players in mind. I'm pretty convinced that Enfield was designed for, like, your average Genshin or Honkai player. No, but I mean, look at the story. The story is so juvenile and petulant. Like, it's not dark even remotely. Like, yeah, a couple of people die every now and then, but it's not like fucking genocide like Arknights. Fucking Bambi's a darker scenario than Enfield. I also have this monstrous issue with fucking people talking Italian and Chinese. Have the biggest problem with that. It just wouldn't happen. You know, maybe the pack might still speak Italian, maybe. But it's unlikely. It's got nothing to do with me not liking other languages. It's got everything to do with that it only takes 100 years to kill a language, and Enfield is supposed to be 250 years after. All other languages would have died out. Like, all localized Terra languages would have died out. And only one would have been selected, so everyone would have the same, not the same, but they would have a similar accent. They would have probably their own sort of regional dialect, but they would not have their own language. So whatever the standard language is on Terra, because I genuinely don't know what the standard language is on Terra in Arknights. It's not English, because we know that the Arknights language is something else. But whatever the standardized language was on Terra that is just like a general, this is what we're speaking, when we're not in Sargon, Lungman, Casimiras, Ursus, etc. Especially given that they were dumped on the other side of that portal. Winking, yeah, pretty much. Given that they were stranded on the other side of that portal, it was not like a we're doing okay situation, it was a we're fucked situation. So it wasn't a, you know, everything's okay, let's just sort of slog this out thing. It was a no, we need to fucking survive. People would have done everything they could to be able to communicate as cleanly and efficiently as everybody, like with as many different people as they could. Which means that a generalized language would have been like set as a standard. And whatever that language is what would have been adopted on Talos. And I want to be clear, like, because a lot of people will take this the wrong way. So I want to be on record in case, you know, I get randomly made a clip off. I'm not slagging the voice actors. Like, the voice actors do an amazing job. I know I'm not a big VTuber, but, you know, you've always got to put the disclosure there. These days, because sometimes something can happen. The voice actors have done a good job, and I know that they're doing what they've been instructed to do. But Arknights itself, the Arknights universe on Enfield, would not have this swath of languages like Arknights itself does. There's no Casimiras, there's no Ursus, there's no Lungman, there's no fucking... what's another one? Sargon. Exactly, they would have just found something that works. You'd have probably this whole new batch of slang. You'd probably have a few localized bits of slang that survive through the years, because people just tend to adopt slang and expletives. And that's it. And I hate that, like, you see people from the pack, for example, and they speak with this heavy, and it's not even just the pack, it's any fucking Volpo? No, not Volpo. Oh, maybe they are Volpo. I can't remember what race they're called. Any of the Fox people, they all speak with a heavy Italian accent, or at least a modest Italian accent. Why? That accent would be dead. I don't care how fucking much you spoke Italian. That accent would be dead and buried. Because you would just have nobody around you that sort of communicates using that accent. Wu Ling, say like Tang Tang and Mifu, who speak with that really heavy Chinese accent, even when they speak English, like they have that really heavy Chinese accent, that would not have survived. Unless they were like super closed off from the outside world from day one to end, which, as I said, this was a survival situation, so nobody would have been closing their doors to anyone unless they were crazy. No one's accent would have remained as was when they were on Terra. And that's my issue with it. Is it cool that they're sitting there going, ah, yeah, like that's an idea they just straight scalped from Arknights, right? Like that is a zero brain move, zero IQ move, if you will. Like, oh, well, we've got all these different guys from Arknights who are from all these different regions, and all these different regions represent all these different types of people. It works in Arknights because Arknights is an established world. Talos is anything but an established world. Like the northern pole of Talos, for example, just is uninhabitable. Because of all the Aether there. I mean, the only people there are the fucking... What are they called? The Brotherhood or something? I don't remember. They have a similar name to, like, the guys from fucking Fallout. The Order of Steel, I think it is, maybe? They're the only ones that are at the Northern Aether Gate. Even then, they call it an Aether Gate, but I think it's just the gate. And I'm pretty sure it's only three major groups in the band. That's it. Wuling, UW, UCW something. I don't remember. One of the like mining manufacturing groups, and then there's another one. So civilization on Talos 2 is not this widespread flourishing thing. It's very much a very literal constant survival situation where they're sort of just hanging on by their nails. So yeah, I can assure you that in the time they've been on Talos, language would not have survived. People got more important things to worry about than how to speak fucking Italian. when, you know, they need food and supplies. They're not going to be sitting there worrying about that. So yeah, that's what bothers me about it, Biotech. It's that it just wouldn't happen. UWST, that's the one I'm trying to get out. And that's the big issue I have with a lot of the Arknights tourists. Gasp, I said the word. It's a dirty word these days. It's actually a very dirty word, tourists. I don't know why. We used to use that word a lot. And now all of a sudden... I guess it's because people don't like people gatekeeping anymore. Like, gatekeeping is generally frowned upon, which... I don't know. I kind of agree with, but I kind of don't, because I think gatekeeping is appropriate in some scenarios. Gatekeeping is important, but I think that I think the problem is that these days a lot of people go a bit crazy with the gatekeeping. Reverse 99 is far darker than Arknights on Genocide because they're raised with people at that time. I think it's because at one point a lot of people just went way too far with the gatekeeping, like they just got silly with it, and then that's when gatekeeping kind of became like negative thing. Like, I agree with you that gatekeeping is important to a point, but I think there was a point where gatekeeping kind of fell off the other side of the boat. And then it kind of never really recovered, like, because it became a bad thing, it's just always now a bad thing. Does that make sense? Like, once it falls over the other side of the boat, it never becomes good again. I do agree that gatekeeping is required, but I think that it needs to be done with reason. You can't just do it. Like, you have to have a reason to gatekeep, otherwise you're probably gatekeeping for the wrong reason. Well, you're not really gatekeeping for any reason, I guess. But not gatekeeping is the reason I believe we ended up with Enfield in the state that it's in. Because I think that a lot of Arknights players were like really happy that Hypergriff were trying to, you know, trying to expand Arknights, and you know, Arknights is, for all intents and purposes, a pretty small game. Like, it's definitely not a big game. It's a very niche game, and a lot of people, myself included, wanted that universe to grow. Like, I wanted to bring more people into the Arknights world. I'm guilty of it. I adore Arknights despite how dark it is, and you know, if more people end up coming and enjoying the Arknights universe, I mean, that's good, because maybe they'll be, you know, maybe Arknights will be around longer, maybe they'll make more anime or stories or things like that, you know, it's a good thing. But the problem was that I think all the Arknights, all the OG Arknights fans did the same thing as me. We all looked at it like really seriously and went, oh, this is really good. You know, this could bring Arknights forward onto the big stage instead of just being this humble humble little story that, you know, only a few people know about. And unfortunately, we didn't gatekeep. We wanted to be, you know, we knew there'd be changes because it was a different sort of game. And we all allowed that. And they released a couple of betas and everybody was mostly happy with it. And once push came to shove, we realized we'd been blindsided. Unfortunately. And now it's too late to recover it. You know, the horse is bolted. We're done now. Like, I was watching a stream the other day because Arknight's Enfield had a reward thing for watching streamers. And this guy was a sponsored Arknight streamer. Sponsored for Arknight's Enfield. But he had never played Arknights, the original Arknights. He'd never played Enfield, like this was his first stream for Arknight's Enfield. And he tried to log in while it was in the middle of a patch. And this guy was a sponsored Arknight's Enfield streamer. The guy had no interest in anything. And he was sponsored. Meanwhile, I've been playing OG Arknights since it released globally. I'm still humoring Enfield. But I've never got any sort of sponsorship from Arknights. Now, look, I'm not suggesting that I'm chasing it, especially not for Enfield. Because, let's be honest, I don't play Enfield enough to be sponsored for shit. And to be entirely honest, I'm not sure I would support an Enfield sponsorship because I'm not sure that I really appreciate or like Enfield. But fuck, I would have killed for an Arknight sponsorship. Aside that though, the other side of the coin is like, why sponsor somebody if they know nothing about Arknights full stop? Like, how is this person supposed to bring people in to a game that he knows nothing about? Like, oh, the gameplay is really cool, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, they're selling a first impression. And then what does that say for the quality of the game going forward if they sell enough on that first impression? The quality of the game's not going to matter. The story will just go to shit and people will just play it because Herder Enfield. And then the Arknights universe goes to shit. And that's not good. And yeah, that's why I believe that, honestly, all of us, even me who doesn't really, like, I'm not a big streamer by any shot, but, you know, I'm not gonna, even just because I'm a little guy and I haven't really, you know, had anything official or anything like that, I'm not gonna say that I'm innocent in any of it. Like, I'm still guilty of not saying that I think this whole thing is a bad idea. Like, this whole Enfield thing is a bad idea. Like, I never said it. I was optimistic for Enfield. I was very optimistic for Enfield. So I'm guilty in this too. And I was lied to. I was sold a lie. And what's worse now is that lie is beginning to impact Arknights, the original Arknights, and that is not sitting well with me. This is going to take forever. I didn't realize that all these little... I thought these were just some gatekeeping necessary? Yeah, it would appear so, but unfortunately we all dropped that ball. None of us did gatekeep. We all just thought it would be okay. And I think we were all sold a lie. What they gave us in the beta was definitely not what came to us at release. Yeah, no, we were sold a lie on Enfield, unfortunately. And despite being the biggest, you know, I'm a huge Arknights fan. I retract that biggest statement. I'm a big Arknights fan. You know, I have physical Arknights merchandise. I said, as I mentioned before, I also bought that big encyclopedia, the Arknights encyclopedia. I have other bits of Arknights merch, you know. I've invested in the Arknights franchise. But no, I was absolutely sold a lie on Enfield. And even, honestly, even if Enfield were to give me a sponsorship, I would not take it. Because basically, I'm not gonna encourage people to play a game that I myself can't sit there and say I'm definitely gonna play. Like, I don't know if you guys remember, Shade probably will, but I used to encourage people to at least look at Star Citizen very heavily. I used to be very upfront about Star Citizen. I used to always say, look, don't buy it, don't just go and buy it, but at least have a look at it, you know? Play it for a little bit, see how you feel. If you like it, then sure, go and buy it. Absolutely. Like, I never discouraged people from buying it if they were interested in it. These days, I would never encourage somebody to buy Star Citizen. It's the same thing with Enfield. I will never tell anybody to play, like, to invest in Enfield. Except for Nye, because Nye's a different story, because she's a gacha addict, and I think it's funny. And I'm just encouraging her to be a bigger gacha addict. So in that particular facet, I'm the asshole, but no. Any regular person who has come up and asked me, should I play Enfield? I've always said no to. Well, no, that's not true either. Thank you for the hydrate. Let's check. I've always first asked them what they want from the game. Like, what are you expecting to get out of the game? And dependent on that answer, I will probably... I've never said yes. Look at it that way. For all the times that people have given me responses to that, I've never said, yeah, go for it. I've always said, no, don't do it. Don't bother. So yeah, I would not benefit from an Arknights Enfield thing, whatever I said I was talking about. I don't feel like OG Arknights is going down the drain. I just, like, the game itself is still fine. It's just, I don't like that the lore is, being impacted by Enfield. Does that make sense? I don't like that the Enfield lore is dictating Arknights' lore. I feel like it should be the other way around. Yeah, Arknights itself is still being fine. I haven't heard anybody say anything negative about Arknights since Wishadel. Although, I do think Wookiee's been pretty critical of Arknights recently, actually. I don't think I will play another gacha, honestly, Fire. If Arknights fails me, I don't think I will just arbitrarily start another gacha. It's not the only gacha I play. Like, I do play 40k Tacticus, which can be considered a gacha. Considered a gacha. It's a gacha in the loosest sense, but it is still a gacha. I honestly feel like if Arknights betrays me, then that will probably put a pretty heavy nail in things. If Arknights was to betray me, I think it would kind of do the same thing as like what Blizzard's done to me, where I really struggle to play a Blizzard game. Even the ones I already own, or the ones that are free, like Overwatch. Like, I've been wanting to play Overwatch recently, but Blizzard just killed Turtle WoW, which has just ruined my desire to play anything involved with Blizzard. Gachas are admittedly a bad habit that I probably should stop succumbing to, honestly. Yeah, Mecha Break betrayed me. Mecha Break did what Enfield did, they sold everybody a lie. A year's worth of fucking betas, which were amazing and great and had very few issues, and then as soon as the main game came out, they just made a mess of it. They didn't even drop the ball, they fucking threw the ball away. Like, that was as deliberate gets. It's funny and sad all at once, really. That game stood to be amazing. Like, genuinely amazing. It wasn't very big, it wasn't very amazing, but it was a game you could just sit down and play for 20 minutes and, you know, fill some time with and then walk away from. That's the sort of game that it was. And they decided they wanted to put a nail in that. Like, game developers in this day and age are really bad. There's not a lot of game developers that... I don't know what the problem is. Like, there's a problem. I have no idea what it is. I would say greed, but it is clearly not greed, because if you're killing a game, you're not making money, are you? Like, yeah, the stuff you bought in Mecha Break, the items in the shop were ridiculously expensive for what they were. They were very heavy expensive. But at the same time, I can't say, like, you never had to buy anything. As far as I remember, they were all cosmetic, so... Like, maybe the season pass, but that was about it. But even then, the season pass... I think you got a fair bit of stuff in the season pass, so you could sort of wish it away, I guess. Greed clearly isn't the problem, though. There is another problem, and I have no idea what it is because I don't understand it. Is that... What is that? Oh. Maybe it's incompetence, maybe it's inexperience. I don't know. It's weird. Maybe it's just not listening. Maybe, you know what I do believe that it could be, honestly? There is one little thing that it could be. And I keep forgetting about this because not a lot of companies do it, but some do. It could actually be that there are some companies around that do, they don't actually gather their own metrics for games. They sort of gather it not artificially, because that's not true either. They use a program to sort of gather balancing metrics. So, you know, let's use Mecha Break for an example. Like, they'll gather just flat metrics from every game. So, player A played Falcon, they did this much damage in Falcon, this was the game length time. Player B did this much damage, player C did this much damage, they died this many times, etc, 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 and it just fills it out on a fucking spreadsheet, right? It's a very bare bones, artificial way to get, like, data. It's not a good way to get data because it doesn't pass any of it. It's just raw data. And they use raw data to balance. And what happens when they do that is that they miss all of the important data that actually needs to be, like, passed through with human beings. So, you know, player A could have had... So let's just say, like, Falcon is an extremely popular mecha in Mecha Break, for example. So let's say that in every single game, there's somebody playing Falcon on both sides. So, I don't know, in 100 games, you might have 2 Falcons a game. So you might have 200 in one spreadsheet. This is just numbers, like round numbers for my own sort of math metric, right? In a day, like on the 23rd of August, for example, you might have 200 games of people playing Falcon, and in maybe, I don't know, 50 of, not even 50, how many did I say? I don't even remember, 200 games. 200 bits of Falcon data, and of those 200 bits of Falcon data, only 20 good Falcons were playing that day, for example. So you've got, of those 200, 20 of those Falcons have really high stats, and the other 180 is just trash. And so what they'll do is, on paper, it'll drag the average all the way down to shit. So it looks like the Falcon is underperforming, but the Falcon actually isn't underperforming, it's just being used by people who can't use it. So when you've got somebody who's really good in the Falcon, they'll just dominate everybody because the Falcon's untouchable. And then they buff the Falcon, which appears weak because of everybody else sort of dragging it down. And then the stronger people just keep getting more and more and more and more broken, you know? But nobody identifies this because it's just spreadsheet numbers. And it would be all averaged out. Like, I guarantee the one person wouldn't look at those few outliers where the Falcons have done really, really well. They only look at the averages. And that's the problem with Mecha Break, I would say. I would say that's what's happened with Mecha Break. And the big issue is that because they started changing, nerfing, buffing, and all the rest of it so quickly. So quickly. A lot of the people who probably would have sat there and complained sort of looked at them just constantly buffing the Falcon and just went, yeah, nah, not happening, see you later. So they didn't even spend, you know, 5 minutes to make a post somewhere, which I don't think there was anywhere to make posts anyway, except for like Steam fucking support, which, not Steam support, like the Steam community page, which is just like, well, fucking good luck with you anyway. And yeah, they just gave up Mecha Break. I mean, it was free anyway, so who cared? You know? Oh, it was no good, I just dropped it. It was free. No skin off my nose sort of deal, you know? And that was what I believe happened to Mecha Break. Mecha Break could have been great, but they thought they could automate the system, and the system automation fucked them over in the end. It could have also just been blatant favoritism. I don't know. I suppose with my explanation of that, I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. But yeah. And it's a shame, because it's a big shame, and I'll actually scrooge this one straight off. Mecha Break was actually giving me good money to stream streams. The Mecha Break community contribution thing was really, really good. Community contributor thing was really, really good. I do not fault them at all on that behalf. They were very, very generous, but at the same time, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm not gonna keep playing Mecha Break and just be to you guys like, yeah, this game's amazing, when I can't play a single game without getting pissed off at it, you know? If I'm not gonna subject myself to it, I'm not gonna subject somebody else to it. But yeah, they were actually, they do pay their contributors really well. It's not livable by any stretch. Like, they pay you in fucking Steam gift codes, Steam wallet codes, sorry. So it's not cash you can take to the bank, but it is still something. And it was decent. Like, it for me to do like a few streams a month, I don't know, like, you guys know I haven't changed my streaming schedule. If I did a stream a week, for example, like, I could have got a new game every month on what they gave me. So, like, I'm not going to take away from the team. They definitely looked after people. It's just, yeah, I can't in good conscience recommend a game to people or encourage people to play a game that I myself wouldn't. Unless, you know, there's a good reason for it. Like, for example, I hate Elden Ring, for example, but if I know somebody's into a Dark Souls type game, I'll always recommend Elden Ring, because I don't dislike the game, I'm just not very good at it. I just don't like the game because it's not my sort of game. It's not because it's a bad game. Fucking hell, man, I feel like I hardly touched this thing. It's why I'll probably never be a hugely successful streamer either, because I can't ever really stick to a game. Like, yeah, Arknights has sort of been the prevailing force, and I was kind of hoping that through Arknights Enfield, for example, I could maybe grow the community a little bit. You know, bring in some new people that, you know, obviously the Arknights tower defense system didn't really work for, but, you know, maybe Genshin players looking for someone, that sort of thing. So I was sort of hoping that, you know, Enfield would help grow me a little bit, but Enfield came out, Enfield is what Enfield is, and now I'm just like, well, you know what? Don't think so. I do sometimes play Enfield online, but on stream. I did think about doing the new content on stream, but I didn't. Because with Enfield, you never actually know if you're going to get a full stream out of the content. No, I'm just using the Genshin players as an example because, you know, Genshin is kind of like that OG style. The OG style of Enfield. I'm pretty sure Genshin was the first Enfield. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure Genshin was the first. Don't worry about being popular. The most important thing is that you enjoy streaming, and more people will just do that. Yeah. Streaming, and more people will just... more people will watch just because you do anyway. Yeah, that is true. That is very true. Streamers who do enjoy what they're doing are... It's because, see, my problem in that respect, Sonic, is that I prefer to just yap as well. Like, I don't... When I stream, honestly, I have the most fun when I can just sort of yap about things. And it is my belief that that is kind of like the hardest sort of scene to break into as far as streaming goes. Because when you just yap, you don't really have a niche at all. Like, take, for example, one of the people who I started streaming with. Not started streaming. They started a little bit after me, but I was involved in their early streaming days. They started streaming only Dead by Daylight. And because that's all they really streamed as a game, they grew based on that. Like, they grew their community based on Dead by Daylight. And same thing with a lot of other streamers. Like, they'll start with a game, and they'll just grow with that. To start with just chatting is very hard, because a lot of people, like, there's a million other people you could go to if you wanted to do just chatting. Me, that are already in place, you know? And I also don't really talk about positive things. Like, I'll be honest, like, I don't really talk about positive things. Like, I talk about things that are bad in the gaming community, you know? It's very rare that I sit here and I go, yeah, this is amazing, this is great. Like, I'll openly admit that I prefer to talk about the negatives of the gaming sort of stuff. You know, I prefer to sit here and tell you that EA is the boogeyman of the world instead of jumping on board the next EA title, like jumping on Battlefield. Like, I was big on Battlefield 6. Well, there we go, that's a good topic. A good example. I was all for Battlefield 6. Battlefield 6 came out, and again, we were all sold a lie. Well, it was... No, we weren't sold a lie, because it was good for a little while, and then they started monetizing it, and it all went downhill. And so I will sit here and I will openly talk about that, having then, like, said Battlefield 6 is really good, you know? And then a month later, because it was a month later, I'll be sitting there saying, fuck you, EA, fuck Battlefield 6, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's a bit of a shell-shocking experience for people. It's, again, like, I mean, you have and you do play Sonic Racing Crossworlds with me when I play that. I think Sonic Racing Crossworlds is a really good game. I do encourage people to buy it if they're interested in that sort of game, like the Mario Kart sort of game. But at the same time, I will forever slag the game off for being ridiculously overpriced. And a lot of people don't like that. Like, a lot of people will be like, nah, it's amazing, it's totally worth it. Like, man, no game is worth... What's Sonic Racing Crossworlds worth these days? Hang on, let me have a quick look. I think it's still full price. Sonic Racing Crossworlds. So for me, it's $107, $108, because it's $107.95. No fucking game, certainly not a Mario Kart game, is worth $108. Not in this lifetime or the next. But a lot of people don't like to hear that. Like, a lot of people want to come in and they want to be told, oh no, my favorite game is really cool. My favorite game is amazing. Like, yeah, it is an amazing game, but it's a fucking amazing ripoff as well. Like, I want to be that sort of person as a streamer, as a yapper. I want to be that sort of person who plays the real fence. Like, I don't want to sit here and be like, yeah, it's an amazing game, so it's clearly worth $108. Like, I want to be the person who's like, this is bullshit and it needs to stop, you know? No matter how good the game is, it's not worth $108. You know, maybe if they had have given me a full season pass with that $108, then sure. But they didn't. They made me pay for everything, so guess what? But yeah, that's kind of the problem, is that a lot of people, don't like to be told that their favorite game is a ripoff, regardless of how good or bad or anything else it is. Why can't I place that there? What else is there? A lot of people don't actually like me saying that a game is bad because XYZ. You know, even if I give a reason as to why it's bad, I don't know, people will always defend it. It's really weird. But they won't give, like, a counter-argument these days. Like, everybody just like, meh, or just get good is the common denominator these days. Where did these go? Oh, that'd be helpful. Look at that. Meow. But yeah, no, just chatting, I think, is one of the hardest things to get into, because there's no, like, you don't know what you're coming into when you come into a just chatting stream. You're kind of coming in blind, if that makes sense. I could be chatting about anything too. Like, I could be chatting about politics. I could be chatting about, I don't know, my next door neighbor's fucking chickens. Like, you don't know. You know, I could be talking the same sort of stuff that Asmongold talks, or fucking, I could be shocking me dog like Hussein or whatever his fucking name is. I don't know. Like, you really don't know, and that's kind of the problem. Like, it's always a gamble. So if somebody comes in and sort of stops and chats, and that's cool, but it's definitely one of those things that's really hard. Whereas if you start off with a game, people who want to watch the game will come in and you know, they'll talk about it or they'll watch the game and that sort of thing. Take a bit of hydrate in the stretch. Ugh. Ugh. Yeah, see. But the problem with that biotech is, like, a little karting game isn't worth $70. I will give it 50 US. Take it or leave it, no matter how good it is. Peacock is among them. So yeah, don't get me wrong, I would love to honestly just come on here and do just chatting streams and just have people yap about shit they're interested in or shit that's going on. You know, I obviously like to keep it sort of controlled to the gaming world. Or maybe, no, I don't even think I'd like to talk about hardware and stuff like that. Not primarily, because I don't know enough about hardware these days. Hardware kind of evolved well past my ability to keep up with it. I'm happy to talk about how rottenly expensive RAM is and how DLSS 5 is going to be a mess, but, you know, beyond that, I don't think I would really get involved with it. But if it's related to games, you know, I'd be happy for people to just come in and talk about it. Or if somebody wants me to check out a game, like, I can't promise I'll buy the game, but, you know, I'd have a look at it, especially if it's an upcoming game, and especially if you knew that I would, you know, maybe be interested in it, then yeah, of course. It's that sort of thing. But getting started in that sort of field is very hard. It's not an easy niche to slot into. You know, and they're usually, it's not as bad as it used to be, but once upon a time I would have also said that game-related politics would also be allowed, because, you know, Australia used to have this really weird political thing going on with video games. It's not so bad anymore, but it used to be really bad, so I always sort of kept that on my mind. Well, I mean, it still kind of is. Silent Hill F was originally banned in Australia, originally. So, I mean, it does still exist. I don't know why it was originally banned. I would assume, just from my knowledge of what usually pisses off Australian censors, it would have probably been images of child abuse. I would have assumed it would be labeled something like that. But yeah. So stuff like that, you know, even if it's mildly political, as long as it's game related, I'm usually pretty happy with it. I know a lot of games get banned in Germany, so if I had like German followers, I'm sure they'd have a lot to talk about in that sort of field. But no, I honestly enjoy talking to people more than I enjoy playing games. Like, that's kind of why I like playing this, because I can just sort of talk about stuff. I am trying to get like a YouTube channel going where I just talk about stuff, not live, like just doing pre-recorded stuff. Probably only like somewhere between 5 and 10 minute videos, not long videos, just sort of like a short thing. I mean, it is going, but I don't have a lot of free time to sort of record videos and stuff at the moment, so it's kind of like it's dead on arrival, I guess is the best way to describe it. I got a couple of videos up to sort of see how I went with it, and realized that I just couldn't keep up with it. Yeah, some of our horror movies are pretty terrible. Some of our horror movies depict some pretty awful things. I don't really know why movies are okay, but video games aren't. I've never really understood that. Like, we had, for the longest period of time, no R classification for video games, but we did have R and X-rated movies. Like, sorry. Explain that one to me. So there were definitely weird things. It's not as bad anymore. It is still kind of bad, but it's certainly not as bad as it once was. I would have also bought, like, Silent Hill F is another game that I would have bought if it wasn't 100. I think it's the same price as Sonic Racing. I think it's 108 bucks. And then I'm just sorry, I'm not paying that much money for a video game. It's not how I'm gonna work. I'm sorry. I'll pay that much for a full collector's edition of something, but I'm not paying that much for a just box standard video game. I do admit, though, that a lot of people tend to think that when I just yap about stuff, it's relaxing, which is kind of weird to me because I feel like sometimes when I start talking a lot, I end up getting a bit ranty, and it's just, I don't know how that can be considered relaxing, but whatever. There is dirt on this, and I have no idea where it is. And a fair bit of it, I think. I think this is kind of clean. Alright, maybe. Because I don't overdo it with the anger. I don't typically get angry, I'll be honest. There's very few things in this world that make me, like, genuinely angry. I get upset a lot, but I don't typically get angry. Oops. And usually if something does make me angry, like a video game or something, I just put it down and walk away. I will definitely stop playing a video game long before I get pissed off at it, which is why I stopped playing Armored Core 6. Armored Core was definitely upsetting me. But it's a Souls-like game, so that probably should come to no surprise anybody who knows me. I thought it might be a little different. It was not different. I liked the game. Again, it's one of those games. I liked the game. I thought it was a good game. I would recommend it to anybody who likes that sort of game, but it's not for me. But yeah, no, I don't... There's very few things in this world that make me, like, genuinely angry. Blizzard makes me genuinely angry. The shutting down of Turtle WoW, for example, that made me genuinely angry. You guys probably would have seen me playing Overwatch again this week, but yeah. That's not happening anymore. Because Blizzard can't be trusted. But yeah, no, once I finish my current course, I'm gonna try and start working on that YouTube channel. Because I should have a lot more free time then. Which will be good, because again, it's just stuff that I'll be yapping about. It won't be anything big. Like, I'm not going to commit to anything massive. It's literally just going to be, I'm doing this once a week, you know. It's just going to be me talking about something that's, you know, a current decent topic of conversation, usually revolving around gaming. Or gaming adjacent. That sort of thing, you know? And hopefully people enjoy it. I mean, I'm not expecting... I've been really quiet about it, and I haven't been quiet about it kind of because I don't want to talk about it. I've been more just kind of curious about natural growth, I guess. Just to see how it sort of grew naturally, as opposed to me being like, hey, everybody come and follow this channel because it's me, lol. Yeah. I didn't really want to do that. I kind of wanted to just see how it grew naturally before I sort of started advertising it fully, if that makes sense. Just because it was something that I wanted to do to get to understand, because obviously I've only really done streaming. I haven't actually done any sort of real content, just content creation. So I kind of wanted to get used to poking the algorithm, getting the tags right, that sort of stuff. So that's kind of why I didn't want to just sort of flood it with a bunch of people straight off the bat, which might encourage more flooding. I just wanted to kind of sit there and leave it and have it do its thing naturally for a little while before I started going, hey, this is my other channel. If you're interested, go for it. So yeah. Which is kind of good that I didn't straight up advertise it, because like I said, I ended up not having enough time to consistently upload to it because of like force and stuff and my other obligations that I have all at the same time, and it would have been a bit of a cock block to how am I supposed to clean that? It would have been a bit of a cock block to try and say to everybody, hey, there's not going to be any uploads for a little while because I just don't have time, lol. Whereas now I'm not beholden to anybody to sort of explain my absence. One of those things. That is going to be a pain to try and get. I don't know how I'm going to get that. Unless I can... Oh, that is the same one. Whoops. I don't see where that's dirty. Maybe I cleaned it all. Off. Talking to the fan base of Overwatch is like talking to an iron rod poking it in a room full of acid. I don't disagree with you. I'll be honest. Some of the Overwatch community is very rotten. I'm not going to say all of it, but yeah, some of it is very rotten. It definitely got worse after they did Overwatch 2 and made it free because I guess all the freebies... I guess when a game goes free, it just opens it up to everybody who's a fucking not a very good person, I guess. Those sorts of games, when they go free, tend to attract a completely different sort of crowd. Oops. Wow, I actually did quite good, didn't I? I thought that I would have missed a lot more than that. But I've been playing Overwatch since Overwatch was a thing, so... Well, sorry, I haven't... I've been on and off playing it since it was a thing. I played it non-stop up to Overwatch 2's release, and then I think around the same time Blizzard was kind of doing some dodgy shit that I didn't agree with personally. So I kind of just went, yeah, nah, I'm not going to keep supporting this. I'll do one more map. I'll go through and I'll do this. This is another longer one. I probably shouldn't have picked this, but that's all right. So you played it at its peak toxic. So I'll be really clear. When I used to play ranked Overwatch, I played on the Asia servers, and I'm going to be really honest with you. The Asian servers were so much nicer than the Australia, US servers. I don't actually know what the fuck they are because they're listed as both. I have genuinely no fucking clue what they actually are. I call them Australia, US because they list both, but yeah. So I remember this clearly. I did a couple of games, because like I said, I used to play ranked a lot. I did a couple of games on the US server just starting out one season. Just because it had been a fair while since I played ranked on that server. And I just remember the people in there used to always, because I always played healers, okay? I've always played healers when I played Overwatch. And people used to always have this pissing match about like who was doing the most damage or who was doing the most healing, like. And I remember one specific instance where I had double the healing of this one guy. But I think he was in a group with a friend, and his friend was somebody else, and his friend was just fucking hammering me about not healing good enough, and I'm like, you know, you can pull up the scoreboard. This is back when it was still 6 versus 6, so, you know, there was still 2 healers. you can view the healing numbers. Like, you can see that I'm the one doing all the healing. I have twice as much healing as this other guy. Like, why are you attacking me? Like, don't attack me. And this guy just went constantly on and on. And then I swapped over to the Japanese servers, and I was playing fucker, what's his name? Lucio or something? Because, you know, that's who I just enjoyed playing at the time. And I actually had this guy with, like, the Japanese kanji name and all the rest, and he actually spoke this broken as fuck English, you know, please change mercy. You know, just common manners, not you suck, fucking change, KYS, this sort of shit. Nah, nothing unpleasant, just straight up, could you please change? I'm like, fuck, I'm playing on this server forever now. Cunts can't speak English for shit, but they're fucking still more polite than the people who can. You know, and at the end of the game, we ended up winning the game. At the end of the game, they thanked me. Like, he didn't have to fucking thank me at the end, but he did. And I don't know, man. When I was playing on the Asia server, it was just a better experience all around. So I played on the Asia server. So yes, I have seen the Toxie that everybody talks about, but I'm not by any stretch of the imagination accustomed to it. Does that make sense? I'm aware of it. I certainly know of it, but I am not used to it. And yeah, 10 out of 10 to the cunts on the Asia server. Those Japanese blokes are really nice. Usually. I'm sure there's not nice ones, but the ones I seem to play with were always nice. Bless them. Like I said, none of them could speak English, but they were still more polite than the people who could. When someone who can't speak English natively and is just throwing together a handful of words that, you know, barely makes a sentence is still more polite than somebody who speaks English natively, like, it's a pretty telling story, isn't it, honestly? Yeah, I've got nothing but good things to say about the Japanese people I interacted with on Overwatch. I never came across a bad one. I'm not going to say they don't exist again. I'm sure they do, but the ones that I met, they were all really nice. Yuki Akatsu, playing League is like throwing your head into a frying pan. You gotta be sadistic to play League, seriously. How you doing, Yuki? Yeah, I've never played League. I've played games similar to League, but I've never played League. I'm good. I'm sick. But I'm glad to hear that you're good. I just don't understand where all the toxicity in Overwatch comes from. I've seen the worst players in the world try and blame everybody but themselves. It's really weird. It's strange. It's strange behavior. Overwatch is a psychology masterwork. Masterclass of psychology is what Overwatch is. You're sorry, that's alright. I thought I'd be over it by today, but oof, I am not. I am still as dead as I was when I started, unfortunately. Well, I have a voice, so I suppose that's a positive, although I'd say that with the loosest possible way, because my throat still hurts, but I think my throat only hurts because I was coughing yesterday and it was a dry cough, so I kind of shredded my throat. So I don't actually think I'm losing my voice again. I think I'm just getting over the agony of yesterday and dry coughing all day. I didn't get to play with any Final Fantasy 14 people because I played on a US server. I did want to go to the Japanese server for 14. I never got there because it was always full. Western players weak hate men when you give us some shiny boomsticks. I just don't get it. It was very strange. It's honestly just haunting when you see how different the Japanese players are from them. And I mean, it's US Australia, so there's definitely Australian players on there. So I can say with absolute confidence that, you know, we down here are not innocent in this toxicity. But it was so jarring how much different it was. Like, instead of, you suck, do this, do that, like, instead of just ordering or demanding or anything else, it was just straight up, please, please and thank you, you know? Like, basic 2-year-old manners. Fucking bless the translator in 14, eh? Absolutely bless the translator in 14. Whoever come up with that is an absolute genius. What's been going on anyway? Yeah. Is it Yuki Akatsu or is it Yuki Akatsu? I have to ask this because I just noticed that I'm defaulting. I have this feeling that it's Yuki, but I now have to ask. Yuki, okay, I am a madman. Alright. My apologies. I was gonna play 11, but I never did. Final Fantasy 14 is a universal translator in game form. The translator in 14 is amazing. I will die on that hill. Every single MMO should have that. I'm sorry, man. Every MMO should have that shit. Just for general phrases. Like, I don't expect me to be able to have a full conversation with it, but yeah. Anyway, what's been going on, Yuki? What have you been up to? Someone else talk for a minute. I need to rest my voice. Gaming and relaxing? What game have you been playing? That is a very valid question right now, because I am very curious. Besides Arknights, you've been playing Cookie Run, Oven Smash. Did you play Enfield? I might do Arknights tomorrow, actually. Might knock that next stage of the event out, those hard mode stages and the challenge modes. Haven't played Enfield in a month. You know what? Totally fair. Totally fair, totally valid. Very valid response to Arknight's Enfield. And I would say you're not the only one. I actually cleaned out half of my Arknight's Enfield friends list the other day. Literally half of it. Of all the people who started playing, half of that friends list is gone. Now, they're not people I know personally because, you know, all the Arknights streamers and stuff play on frickin' US server. So I'm little old me's over here on the Asia server. But still, from day one, half of that friend list gone. That's not promising, is it? I want to play Final Fantasy XIV again, actually, now that you mention it. It's just, I've been out of it for so long with it. The last time I tried to play it, I didn't even know where the hell to start, so... Kinda just looked at it for half an hour and just went, this is shit, and fucking stopped. Gig of phone. Is that how much Enfield is on the phone? 25 gig. Basically Enfield whenever new update. Is it just me, or when you play a game and leave, it's just so hard to play again when you return? It depends on the game. I find that MMOs are very much that way. Because everything changes, yeah. No, I definitely have that as well. That was definitely my issue with Final Fantasy XIV. I went back, I actually skipped an expansion pack too. Like, I didn't play for a whole expansion pack, so... like, I had that whole section of stuff that I just didn't know about, or it was just alien to me. There was nobody there in the town. I did actually get to the next town, but there was nobody in that city because obviously everybody had moved on to the next one. Yeah, it was... everything was different. I had no direction. Yeah, it was not fun. I definitely find it hard to go back to a game that I've stopped playing if it's a live service game, so it changes as it progresses. It tends to be why if I put down a game, I don't tend to go back to it if I've had it down for a specifically long time. Final Fantasy 14 obviously being the best example of that. Like, I would love to go back to 14, but it's very confusing to me. I also get really nerve-wracked about jumping into dungeons and stuff, because the dungeon finder, the one thing I noticed in 14 is people tend to be very unforgiving if you don't know the dungeon, as opposed to if it's brand new content. Like, yes, Final Fantasy 14 does have the sprout thing, or the returner thing, sort of next to your name, so it does identify that you're returning or you're a new player. But people just seem to expect it of others, that they know what they're doing. It's bred a really bad thing. I will say over the years, Final Fantasy 14 has gradually bred a really bad community in that respect. There are still a lot of good people who, if you tell them that you're new, like, at the start of a run, they're really comfy about it, but there's just as many people who are just likely to throw you into the first fucking problem that they can, just to get rid of you. Yeah, that really nerve-wracks me every time I return to an old game, Yuki. It's one of those things that sort of sits rent-free in my head. It's why I would say that if I do put Enfield down, just as an example as well, I will never go back to Enfield. No matter how much it develops or changes or betters itself, I will never go back to Enfield if it gets put down. And I can probably say that that will happen. Give it another month or two, I would say that Enfield will be put in the bin. I'm pretty sure Enfield just wants to be a cash grab. Enfield doesn't have any of the signs of being a real game. It doesn't have any indicator that it plans to be a long-term game. It has a lot of indicators of being a pump and dump, which is fairly concerning, but even jumping on an old game that's been going for a long time, if you come in late to the party, I'm always really wary about that too. I played some Turtle WoW when it was still a thing. Sad face. And even though I played the shit out of vanilla World of Warcraft, like I probably knew that game like the back of my hand, I was still really wary about coming into that game 7-8 years late. Like, the game was still the game. It wasn't any different from... I mean, it was a little different from how I remembered it, but nothing that would have, you know, made me not understand it. It had developed beyond what the original World of Warcraft was, but not in a way I couldn't figure it out. But I was still really wary about joining that, probably for the same reason that, like, I was wary about Final Fantasy. You know, people, and that was actually really true too, because people were just like Final Fantasy. They were, you know, everybody was on a fucking time limit in that game. It's unfortunate, actually. Everybody seemed to be in a rush. Like, things that would take a long time originally, like, even if you couldn't feasibly do it, you were expected to in Total WoW. It was really unfortunate. Some people were okay, but most people were always on a fucking timer. And I don't know if that sort of attitude has come in from games like Final Fantasy, where, I mean, I don't know how many of you guys played Final Fantasy 14, but when you get in a dungeon in 14, it's balls to the wall the whole way through. You're expected to just power through that dungeon. It is fucking 10-15 minute job. You're a healer, you don't heal, you just DPS. I don't know if that attitude's come from there, but yeah, it's an unpleasant attitude. I don't enjoy it. It puts me off playing MMOs, honestly. And then, like Yuki said, if you stop for any real reason for a long time, whether, you know, maybe you can't afford the subscription, or maybe you just want to take a break, and then you come back to it later on, everything's changed, everything's different, you've got to relearn possibly a game from scratch because things might have changed that much. And unfortunately, yeah, I don't know, that is definitely off-putting to me, yeah. Maybe people get excited about having to learn a brand new game if it's the same game, but I certainly don't. It is a little, I can't think of the word, off-putting? To me, at least. Like, I love Final? Jesus Christ, I've turned into an Outback Aussie. I love Final Fantasy 14, don't get me wrong, but just getting back into it is a little too much of a complex task for me. Too much has changed. You just need some adapting. Maybe. Maybe I'm too old. Too old for this shit these days. Start playing The Sims. My old boomer brain can't handle it anymore. The only real downside of Final Fantasy was that there wasn't really a lazy class. Like in World of Warcraft, you could play a healer and you could just be mega lazy. You didn't have to be, but you could be. Like, nothing more was expected of you in Warcraft. in Final Fantasy 14, there was no lazy class. Everybody was expected to contribute, and I didn't like that about 14. Some days you just want to be lazy, you know? Why is this not clean? Several raids were overturned DPS checks till you had the raid gear. Yeah, that's... I don't know. I just, like I said, I preferred just being lazy in a lot of things, so... It's raining here for the next 30 hours? I want 30 hours of rain. I love rain. Just trying to think what game I've been playing a lot of recently. I've been playing something a lot, or a lot more than I usually would. I think it's a turn-based game. What have I been playing? Maybe I haven't. Maybe it's just Mechanicus. Maybe I'm thinking of Mechanicus. I've been playing Buggos 2 a lot. You guys want me to recommend a game to you? That's my game of the... Probably my game of the year, my game recommendation of the year. Buggos 2 is the stupidest, funnest little game there is. It's the most head-empty game, and I love it. The rain hitting the metal roof. Buggos is amazing, and I recommend that game to everyone. Just because it is so stupid and so simple. Like, you don't need to be any sort of person to enjoy that game. It is just a good game. can actually recommend a game. That's crazy. Could not be the bird recommending a game to people. Unsurprisingly, it is an indie game. Crazy. Ow, thank you for the hydrate. Just cleaning this little crystal grouping. No, I am looking forward to Subnautica 2 when it comes out, though. I'm going to be playing that with Connor. I've roped her into playing Subnautica 2 with me. So the two of us will be doing a Subnautica 2 playthrough, hopefully. I don't know how well that'll go because she can only stream like late at night for me, so I might have to like double park my streams or something. I'm not really sure how that's gonna work. We'll have to talk about it whenever it happens. Everybody gets excited when I play a Subnautica game, so hopefully it gets people excited again to hear that Subnautica 2 is coming out and I'll be playing that. Everybody asks me when I'm going to be playing Subnautica again, and I'm just like, man, I've played that game on stream like 3 times already. I can't do it again, please. So with any luck, yeah, Subnautica 2 will come out this year, I would say, and I can play that, and everybody can get super excited and jazzed about me playing that again. Super excited and jazzed about the Subnautica again. Hopefully it won't be weird. I didn't really like... I liked Subnautica 2, I just didn't like the Leviathans. You doom scrolled enough to get to EN streams? Doom scroll. Welcome in. How are you? I didn't even think streams would show up for doom scrolling. probably an achievement on this map I should have maybe been working towards, but it's too late now. We're past the point of no return. Should have got Nye to play Subnautica with me, that would have been funnier. Nye would never play Subnautica with me. I don't think Nye would ever play Subnautica. Should just hear like the screaming of the Leviathan and then just be like, no, that's it, be done. Trying to get Nye to play an even remotely scary game is a losing battle. Nearly done with all the crystals, which is honestly the hard part of this whole one. Trying to get all the angles of the crystals. Alright. Everything is fairly clean around this pillar. Just make sure that I have actually cleaned everything around it so that I don't go crazy trying to find one last speck of dirt. I think I'm going to go pretty crazy with all these little tiny bits and pieces in there, but that's alright. Need to sleep, so going to crash into bed instead. Have a good rest. The stream will VOD when I wake up. The internet is, mate. No worries, mate. Have a good rest. Enjoy the rain. this thing first. So give me like a bare bones starting area, even though everything looks to be all over the shop. Yeah, I think everything's all over the shop. I don't think I'm winning there. I might swap my thing. There's a bright light. Like crazy, even though I want to go slow. Game is making me gotta go fast. Start using foam now and just cover everything in foam and hose bits and pieces of it off, I guess. Probably going to be the best way to go about it from here. As I am dying. Soapy goodness. No more soapy goodness. I also appreciate that the soap removes some of the dirt as well when you spray it on there. It doesn't remove a lot, but it does remove a little bit. So a lot of the soap that you actually put onto something some of the soap that you put on the stuff actually gets removed by itself, because it's just doing its own little bit of a clean. I appreciate that. So fast and loose with this. Are you still dirty flux inhibitor? Trying to do some dodgy cleaning while I'm just standing here. Not really winning, but I'm trying. Because I can't get some of this dirt off easily. Some of this dirt is on there. I feel like I'm not really cleaning as well as I should be. I feel like I'm missing a whole bunch of little bits. I have no evidence to support this because I haven't really looked, but I just feel like I'm missing a whole bunch of little tiny bits and pieces, like in between all the nooks and crannies of these pillars and stuff. And, you know, around here, and as I look at it finally, and I do actually see that I'm missing a whole bunch of spots. Guaranteed that is totally going to come back to bite me. Cover everything in foamy goodness. I think I've got most of it covered. Thankfully, the foam that doesn't stick on dirt just gets washed away, so I'm not wasting foam, which is good. Alright, I think that's everything. It's probably not everything. I probably missed a couple of little bits, but I think that's as good as it needs to be. Alright, let's wash all that off and see how I've gone. Can actually clean huge swaths of this stuff. Just being lazy, which is great. Just a spot with the foam. This. Oh. This bit with the foam. God, how did I miss that? Whoops. Me confident I've cleaned all the crystals. The first crystal I see once I get done cleaning the dais or whatever it's called. Absolute filth. Definitely missed that one. Alright. Although I've apparently missed something over here too. This one's just a little dirty. Maybe a little dirty? What have I missed? Oh god, the tops of it. Missed a few. What the hell? I've not done a good job. Done a horrible job. I am a horrible cleaning man. Is this the final map of the whole game? Yeah, this is the final map of the single player story, Quotey Finger. Hey, Konori, what's up? Went home early because you don't feel good? That's not good. They call it a story, Sonic. I don't actually know if it is much of a story. It does have a story, but I think it's kind of just people... I don't know. I guess you could call it a story. It's as much of a story as it needs to be, smiley face. Is there any story lore? No, I don't think there's lore per se. I could be wrong. Like, absolutely don't quote me on that. But I don't think it's so much lore as there is just, like, a story being told. Does that make sense? Oh my god, the crystal is dirty on top too. I can't get up on top of it. I'm just gonna have to clean it and hope for the best. I mean, I'm sure some people will tell you there's like full lore and everything. I don't think there is. I think there's more just a story being told. Which I suppose you could say is lore, but... Job complete. Yeah, and then you get this little thing, so I guess you get to see the closing screen again. Like, that's the old mayor's cat, the old mayor's pet cat or something, which was like one of the big things about the first game. There is some sort of underlying story, but it's drip fed to you because each little message sort of comes through as you clean stuff, and I've never gone back and read all of them. I don't know. It's a simple game. I just enjoy it as a simple game, even if it is, you know, even if there is sort of like an underlying. I think the story is just there to sort of give it some depth, as opposed to just being a power wash cleaning game. Yeah, it's kind of drip fed from you as it goes along, and it continues on from the story of the first game. Like, you're the guy from the first game. And like I said, this Chonky here is the cat from the first game, so it does have an arching story. It just, I couldn't tell you what it is. I think I will wrap it up from there though, guys. I appreciate you guys hanging it out with me and my voice, my poor voice. I'll be back tomorrow. I think I will be doing Arc Nights tomorrow, I think. But yeah. That's what will probably be going on tomorrow. That chat is still going crazy. I'll have to fix that one day. I don't know how, though. Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for coming in and chatting. I appreciate all of you. I will catch you guys tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.